China has reportedly released a statement on the informal Modi-Xi Jinping summit. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has said that a broad consensus has in fact been reached at the informal summit to uphold peace at the border and also work towards strengthening dialogue in political, security and other areas as well. Describing China and India as neighbours, friends and partners, China has said that both sides will work towards an independent policy of peaceful development. And the two sides will also try to work towards enhancing people-to-people contacts. They'll try and properly manage differences and also allow the special representatives to seek mutually acceptable settlement of disputes. So this is, of course, the statement that has been put out by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in China. And it now remains to be seen as to how this actually does materialize. Because remember, this was almost a sort of an experiment in terms of this unprecedented meeting between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and also President Xi Jinping that was called on such short notice. This is perhaps a different way of doing diplomacy that the two leaders have in fact resorted to, and it now remains to be seen as to how this will be taken forward. So it's interesting that China has struck such a conciliatory tone, stating that India and China are neighbours, partners and friends, and mutual trust is what needs to be enhanced, and this is what both nations need to work towards. And for more of this, we are joined in by our senior editor, Surya Gangadharan, who's joining us from the international desk. Good afternoon, Surya. This is a statement that's been put out by the Chinese Foreign Ministry, where they've struck a very, very conciliatory tone, stating that India and China are neighbours, partners and friends, and will have to work for greater mutual cooperation to head out into the future.
Well, the Indian statement too was conciliatory, and if you see even the vision statement that both leaders have released, it basically talks of cooperating, coordinating, building relations and avoiding the kind of issues that we saw over the last year. So I think it's when two leaders get together, the focus is on trying to improve their relationship and moving forward, rather than looking back. So that's why we are looking at two very similar documents.
Absolutely. And also, Surya, considering the manner in which this entire summit was conducted, this is, something different that was attempted, where it was an informal setting, there was no agenda, there were several issues that were discussed, and it is also something that would depend to a very large extent on the personality of the leader who's taking part in a summit and how much of a rapport he's able to strike with the other leader. Can we expect more of such informal summits between India and China?
Well, I understand the Prime Minister has invited Xi Jinping for an informal summit in India next year. Maybe I think Xi Jinping has accepted. So this could become a regular feature between the two sides, which is good. And yes, the PM will again be traveling to China in June for the SCO summit. I would presume there'd be an opportunity again to exchange some ideas and see how far their roadmap is progressing, although it's still early.
Absolutely. And just before I let you go, let me play the devil's advocate. A lot of people are also looking at it and saying, look, it is a lot of stuff that has been said, but nothing specific, because there are several contentious issues that India and China have to deal with, border being one of them, trade deficit is another one, OBOR is another one, Pakistan's relationship with China, where they say that it's an all-weather friendship, is another one. But what actually is the big takeaway in terms of the specifics here, Surya?
Well, I think if you look at the vision statement they've released, the joint statement, it begins clearly with the need to bring down tensions, work towards coordinating their positions on the border and ensuring that the two militaries are enhancing their own communications at the border level so as to minimize chances of some kind of a conflict breaking out. As you're aware, last year there were some issues in the Pangong Tso area where the armies of two sides exchanged blows, So these things can easily get out of hand, and that was one of the very, very specifics that were set out in the vision statement.
Right.
They've also talked of building cooperation in other areas, including balanced trade and all that. These are things we'll have to see how they go forward and how it is implemented. Do remember that Xi Jinping in 2015 had promised to invest $20 billion in India, of which we've seen about a little over $1 billion. So there's a long way to go there.
Absolutely, indeed. We'll have to leave there. Thank you very much indeed, Surya Gangadharan, for joining us and getting us all those updates.